Ohio gozaimasu. I did warm up my voice a little bit, but I haven't spoken to anybody so far today, either by video or in person. I haven't been out of my apartment. It's kind of early, actually. Maybe it's 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Yeah, well, the day started at 4:20 actually when Garrison called me. Yeah, it's 4:20. I'll call you back some other time. But it's okay. I wanted to get up early because I wanted to fit in a few things before my schedule starts for the day, which is at noonish. So I was thinking of going over to RINK, Chiba, after I do this presentation for today. Yeah, it's a time of year, of course, when the temperature outside is very, very comfortable. So like I've got both sliding doors open and there's circulation of air through the other side of the building. So the windows on the other side, actually I did close it a little bit because it got a little noisy last night and the calendar fell off the wall even. Yeah, it kind of gets a little windy here in Tokyo when the seasons change. It's still shorts and t-shirt weather for motorcycling in Tokyo. It's maybe this morning going out to Chiba, 40-minute ride. Probably going to put on at least a jacket. But yeah, so you don't mind if I just warm up for my figure skating practice today, do you, while I'm doing my presentation? I noticed a lot of green coming into my world today, and maybe it's just psychological. If I don't see any blue, well, there's some blue if I look for it, but yeah, so this is green. I hope there's enough light in here, by the way. I don't like to put on the lights. I use the lights very minimally, and even my sleep pattern is kind of 8 to 4 type of thing, so I really don't need lights very much, and very artificial lights are not really very good for you, I understand. Natural light is the best. This is quite natural, organic moringa from Okinawa. Yes, this is moringa no chikara. Moringa no chikara. So moringa power. Maybe I'll do a little moringa power this morning. I haven't had moringa tea in at least a week, so I think it could be good. I do have some, speaking of green, although this one has a little yellow on it. Yeah, it's pretty green. Yeah, I was able to get some limes. And I did read something not too long ago about limes, a health benefit of limes. And so when I saw the limes, and limes were on sale too, like how could I not stock up on limes? And they keep well. So, yeah. So I've been drinking this. Yeah, but I might make a little bit of, I'm still here, don't worry. I've got my microphone on. You can't see me, you don't need to see me every second, of course, and I don't know how presentable I am at this hour anyways, but I just put the tea bag in here at the bottom of the mug, and I pour a little filtered water just to kind of wet the tea bag, just so that when I pour the hot water over it, if it's a little too hot, if the kettle's whistling and I pour the hot water over it, it doesn't scorch it too much. It's already a little bit, it won't be so shocked. And yeah, so there is I should let you know about this before I forget. I think it's kind of interesting news. There is this dude, his name is Michael Helgren, and he has a new site, Upskate. I've got it on here. I pulled it up. Upskate. Yeah. Where figure skating meets sustainability and accessibility. This is buy and sell site, buy, sell, and rent, used or new. And I'm not doing an advertisement right now for Michael, but I thought it would be of interest to all of you if you have some, maybe you've got some skating equipment or that hasn't been used very much that you'd like to get out, you'd rather have money than used skating equipment taking up space. You can go to Upskate and check it out. See if that works for you. Yeah, I just got a little out of my groove there for just a second, because when you try to fit in filming, like I'm presenting myself to the public, potentially to thousands of people over time, so it's just a little nerve-wracking. Like any performance, doesn't have to be a figure skating performance. It could be a performance in front of the camera, where you're trying to, you don't want to look stupid, and maybe you don't want to waste people's time. There's some pressures here and there, and this and that. So normally I'm going to do the tea another time, actually, because I have some more important things to show you. Yeah, so I noticed that I've actually, right now, thankfully, I can't really claim to be on the injured list. I'm not really limited very much by, I had an Achilles problem last week, which is good news. So even though I'm, even still, like, I just want to go out and skate and jump and do everything, but I still know that I have to be careful, right? Because in a recovery, I haven't been skating because I had some ankle sprain and minor ankle sprain and Achilles problem. I've changed my technique a lot on my running, and I'm running pretty full speed now too. I'm not limited in my speed by pain. But I've been trying to use my forefoot more in running and in skating too, actually. And, my forefoot I was losing it. I wasn't using it, and it became numb and cold all the time. And now I'm overcoming that. And I also got some nail fungus problem there. Like the front of the foot was just not doing very well, and it's still not all the way better, but it's getting a lot better. And so I'm trying to keep my weight on this foot longer, this back foot longer as I run, trying to keep my weight supported in that metatarsal flex position as I run, which we don't do in skating, right? In skating, because we have the blade attached to the boot and the boot is rigid, we don't do this type of motion. I mean, we might put pressure on the front of our foot, certainly, and yeah, I'm all about spreading the weight around evenly under the foot. However you define that, the foot is a very strangely shaped thing. So what do I mean by spreading the weight around evenly under the foot? What is the ideal footprint? It's something that maybe an athlete or a coach might be potentially interested in. What is the ideal footprint? If you step on some sand or something soft there, and you try to achieve what is the ideal weight distribution, obviously you don't want too much. You want probably good alignment, right? You want good alignment. you don't want to have your knee too much out. So in other words, too much weight on the outside of the foot. And you don't want to have your knee too much in, because now weight is dropping down onto the arch. The arch is collapsing, so probably that happy medium. And so I know that I've struggled all my life. I was very pronated skater. I let gravity take over. And I talked to you about gravity, how it can take over. Like some of us just have our necks just like hanging over to one side, or various things that we do against gravity. The best posture is fighting, keeping balance and fighting gravity really well. But now, if so, what is that ideal footprint? And I'm using my brain to solve this problem. This problem can be helped. The solution can be helped, of course, by what we do, our insoles that we make for figure skaters and shoes, just to give more support under that arch so it doesn't collapse as easily, and to but to allow it the mobility that it needs as an athlete. That arch is supposed to collapse, but it's not supposed to collapse too much and be weak. And so to dial in where you get the proper function of your foot with a good insole, that's part of the solution. But part of the solution also is getting an understanding of what good alignment feels like, so you can strive for it, so you can remind yourself frequently of that. It is quite important, We as we get older, gravity takes over in various different ways. We go down, down, down. And for good posture, one thing we want to go down is our shoulders, maybe. Anything else you want to go down? Good posture is lifted up. Well, I don't want to be standing too tall to the point where I'm hyper extending my knees either. I do want to have a little bend in the knee. I want to have an athletic position for all pedestrians, everyday people or everyday parts of our lives where we're just walking or hanging about. We still want to have good biomechanical position, I would argue. We kind of get away from that with our unnatural lifestyle nowadays. But see, so there is still a little bend in the ankle, knee, and hip, and the lower leg is kind of more or less parallel to the upper body. I want to have the shoulders not as far back as they could go, even though I might want to stretch, which I haven't done yet today. For example, pushing my chest forward down towards the floor. I could do this in a more comfortable way, something that's a little higher, right? Or even a wall, you can, it's just, you just have to have something to push against, right? Yeah, so stretching, massage, and awareness, mental awareness of good posture and good function is what I'm going to strive for. I correct myself all the time. I spend most of my practice session on the ice correcting bad habits. That's mostly what I do, is fix bad habits when I go and practice. And I have pretty good habits, and my skating is pretty refined. I've been doing it for a long time, and enough hours that it ought to be, I ought to know more or less what I'm doing on an ice rink. But I wish I had built a foundation more gradually, frankly. and not gotten into some of the bad habits that I got into. Like, for example, I wish I had have known and understood the benefits. I probably would have had much less injuries through the years if I had have understood the benefits of good posture and foot function. Yeah, so yeah, trying to get this more into my run, and because by doing that, by keeping my weight here a little bit longer on this foot, as keep my weight supported there a little bit longer on the front of the foot, there's a few things that does. It extends my stride, so this has a lot more time to move forward while I'm keeping my weight here. Also, by when I talk about ideal weight under the feet, just when you're standing, weight is spread out in some ideal way. Well, it's identical in running. Well, not identical because you're jumping when you're running, but your weight is still evenly spread out with the same force under the foot. Well, no, it's not the same. It's not identical because the weight is going to maybe start on that whole foot in an ideal, but that's going to be just an instantaneous feeling. You're moving all the time. So yeah, maybe you step on your foot like this, just like you would when you're skating. Maybe you even heel strike a little bit, whatever. But the point is, and then the weight goes forward, and when you first step on it, yeah, you've got a certain amount of weight on the heel, right? I want to absorb some weight on that heel. I want to use the whole foot. It's just the time transfers from back to front over that standing phase. Your weight is transferring, but on average, it's basically that same thing there, that same amount of pressure. And yeah, okay, when you're running, you're jumping. Maybe you don't want to jump more than necessary when you're running. I personally have a very low center of gravity, long stance phase, and not as bare minimum of up and down jumping in my personal running style. And that's smoother. The more up and down you are, it's a little harder on the joints, and it's also not as direct. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and if you're going up and down, that's not a straight line. And that requires some work, jumping. But my style is more like keeping a lower center of gravity, and you have to have because you're in that stance phase, the motion of the joints has to be correct in such a way that it's well coordinated, so you are moving smoothly. If the coordination of those three joints isn't correct, it's more difficult to get that with a longer stance phase. If you're jumping, just bounding from one foot to the other, the stance phase is quite a lot easier. So there's pluses and minuses to every piece of technique that you can dream of. And I didn't get around to the Moringa tea because I got a little out of the camera's kind of changed my pattern. Normally I use filtered water here. I don't know, maybe the tap water is not too bad in Japan, but I think most people filter their water. Well, most people drink out of plastic PET bottles here in Japan. I can say many, many great things about this country and this city, Tokyo. But my opinion about the plastic usage in Japan is that it's a little excessive, shall we say, in a nice way. Yeah, no, too much. That plastic does leach out into the liquid, so you're consuming a certain amount of plastic. when you drink out of a plastic PET bottle. It's so convenient and lightweight and that. I use metal and glass actually myself. I just take some filtered water out of the tap and fill up my canister, and I add about, right now, maybe 12 different kinds of powder into the water. And there was even some pomegranate juice in there this time, and some dark maple syrup, everything organic. I take that with me to keep me going through the day. So just a few little thoughts about some of the things that I do and some of the ways that I think. And this is always a little bit of an adventure. I kind of get a lot of, I kind of think to myself, what can I really say that's interesting and relevant and that's not all just about me? Because I'm experiencing my life, and I'm specialized in figure skating, right? After spending so much time in figure skating, and I've been involved in sports all my life. So I am specialized, and so I can help people because I'm specialized in that way. And so I share sort of things that I do, and I give advice, but there's pluses and minuses to different methods. So I'm not going to be dogmatic and tell you that you have to do it this way or that way. Except for some things. Gravity's going to pull you down. If you jump up, gravity will pull you down every time. And I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. Maybe not every time. Maybe gravity will switch off sometime in the future, just suddenly. You jump up in the air and gravity switches off and you go off into space. Chances of that are infinitesimal. But for lots of things, including techniques and opinions, we have to keep an open mind and be prepared to change that open mind if new information or insight comes about. Enough now. I was going to do a rancorous rant today. I thought because there's always stuff to rant about. But maybe I'll just keep it real pleasant and leave it at that. And maybe in the future I'll have my rancorous rant section. So I can let off some steam, and so I can talk about some issue that'll get you thinking, or I think that way too, but nobody's ever said it, or So here we go. I don't have to rush off, but within an hour or so I'll get on that Kawasaki green Ninja with all my green. I even grabbed green skating pants today when I was fumbling around. Well, I wasn't fumbling around. I have a method for everything, but we're out of time, so cheerio, ganbatte, ganbarimasu.